So anyway, welcome to the podcast by Paulina
and Gemma,
all about frank, unscripted conversations between friends on everything to do with a balanced, happy life, sometimes business, sometimes personal, often quite ranty, always passionate.
Hi, I'm Gemma. I'm a professional problem solver and leadership coach obsessed with learning about being the best possible human. Reading all the books, doing all the training, trying all the holistic therapy.
Hi, I'm Paulina. I'm an operations and digital marketing manager by day and cat welfare, kitchen witch and tea fanatic by later day. Trilingual, self-development junkie, here to share all of my very many thoughts. Right, so what we thought might be good to exchange some opinions on is to see thoughts on, January, New Year. We are still only just in January, and by the time this goes out, I'm sure it'll be January next year. At this rate. No, we must hope better for ourselves. Thoughts on January, because I personally have disliked it year on year in my life, but I'm realising very rapidly that I am in the minority of people who don't like January or who don't like jump on the habits and new starts and fresh starts year, so like vibe. So just wanted to hear from you.
Because I feel like almost like shamed for liking the new year.
Oh, we're bringing the shame.
Yeah.
Tell me about the shame.
Well, I feel like in this, and then also last January, I've just heard lots of people being like, it's not the start of the year.
Yeah.
And
okay.
like, fuck New Year, New You, and like, it's cold, hibernation.
That's also me. Are you sure you're not just talking about me?
I've heard it from other people. I've heard it from other people as well. And you know what? Like, I'm not down for New Year, New You, because like, what a cliche as a phrase. Mm-hmm. But I feel like, I think it's Christmas. Like, you go through Christmas, it feels like this poignant point that you have every year. Mm-hmm. And then whether or not it's the start of a new year, or if it's just that you mark like the end of something by Christmas being this event that you have, mm-hmm. and then after that being like, I'm restarting something different, or I'm having a moment to like be able to reflect. What did I do last Christmas? Like, what am I doing this Christmas?
Well, I gave you my heart, but the very next day you gave it away.
Yeah, exactly.
That's me every year.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm just here for the comic relief. I'm not really here to help you along. That's how I'm starting to feel that very strongly. No.
I was trying to think of a Christmas song that I could come back at you with, but then I was like, don't get a Christmas song in your head because it's January. Like, that will be an earworm, and that will
because it's the new year and you start new things, right?
Totally. Don't clap.
Okay, yes. So basically, yes, I see what you mean. It definitely feels like a culmination, whether we choose it or not, because so much is shaped around.
Yeah,
people take time off for Christmas, things close down for Christmas, everyone has to come together for Christmas.
Yeah, so there's like a huge amount that happens around Christmas. And then whether or not it's like the new year or not, I feel like it's just this point where you reflect on, what did I do the year before? What am I doing in this new year, And so for me, like, I enjoy being able to be like, okay, that Paulina's just been quite pushy with the lemon. She's got a lemon
I'm going to give context to this. I've got a bit of sliced lemon in a little jar on the side next to our teas in the teapot. And two things happened in my mind. First of all, I was like, I am missing a big ASMR moment here. I could have just been pouring the tea to the mic and you all could have enjoyed that. So you're not getting that. And then I went to grab the lemon as if to put it in and I realised, no, what are you doing? That's not your mug. And I put it back. This was me putting it back, realising that I can't be pushy with the lemon.
And
I nearly just done it
is
for
that
you.
We had just had a whole conversation about how I lemon shamed you. So
yes.
Yes.
And you'll learn very quickly that I can't have a cup of tea without lemon. It's not relevant to an audio feature.
No, I'm just going to pass you the lemon back because I've already got lemon in my tea.
Yes. Thank you for that. You're welcome.
But yeah, so anyway, where I'm at with it is that I quite like being able to be like, okay, we've just had this big event, Christmas, like for whether that's been good or bad, whatever it is, it's happened. And now I'm just going to think about this new thing starting, and I enjoy that. This year is the first year that I've oh my god, it's clearly making me emotional. No, it's not. I've just got a frog in my throat. I need some lemon.
Told you.
Like, this is the first year that I have actually got a proper planner and am really trying to commit to it.
You don't get to plug your planner on here.
Sponsored by My Goals. It's not.
But it could be if you guys are into it.
Yeah, but this is the first year that I'm doing it, and like, I've decided I've deliberately bought a yellow planner book.
Oh yeah,
It's
this
just
is
a
great.
book.
This is
I've
great.
deliberately bought a yellow one so that it will get dirty. I will think that it has been used. I will be like, I have seen you through the year.
What do you mean? I have to call you out on this. What do you mean I'll think it was being used? When you genuinely use the planner?
When I look back at it, you know, when I'm 50 and I'm like, the first year I used My Goals. Like,
and then you'll see that it's thick with the ink and usage, yeah? That's not going to sell it to you as you've used it. You must see the scuffed yellow cover.
totally.
I see.
Yeah, there's something that's happening there for me. I think it's like an antithesis of perfectionism and tidiness. It's like being like, yeah, it's messy. Like, I feel the same thing with my handwriting. Like, the more that I write, the messier my handwriting gets. And I'm like, yes, I'm writing loads. So anyway, that's where my head's at with it. It's the first year I've done it. I feel like it's a natural inflection point. I know that people hate it. I feel like I've been shamed for liking it. What do you think?
I'm sorry I made you feel like that. I assume I'm at fault. No, well, I'm sorry you feel like that. I think if it works for you, that's great. And I know part of the reason, and this is just a fixed part of my personality now, which I'm leaning into, is that I know that I just can't, like, I can't get to the point where you're at. I can't and won't. And like, I'm choosing not to get to the point where I go, yeah, okay, do you know what? This is a new start. This is the thing of this. And I'm going to go do immediately. There's this really teenage resistance in me that's like, fuck that. I want to do the thing that nobody else is doing. And actually, I'm doing a thing that so many people are doing.
Yeah, you're now
silly.
jumping on the current. You're now
I
mainstream.
started the trend, thank you. Yes, I jump on no wagons. I drive them. I'm not sure where that metaphor was going.
I think
Somewhere.
got horses drive them, but anyway,
Well,
ride them.
I ride them. That fell terribly. I'll work on that for another time. Yeah, it's a funny one. Like, I've just struggled to lean into New Year, New Me so many times. And I've tried it many times before because it felt like this is the dumb thing. This is what you're hearing so much in
I just
mainstream.
need to come in here. I'm not into New Year, New Me. I can't
No.
have that brand associated with me. Like,
No, but the fresh start and reflection point of New Year is
then
something
fine.
that still sticks. Like, even though I'm very strongly trying to not pressure myself into loads of new habits and loads of new things I'm jumping on. And I've still like done a few extra things in January, probably more than I had energy spare. So that's how strong I feel like this mainstream pull of new, like, a moment to reflect and let's go. You've got these ideas and you should do these things. So it doesn't have to be New Year, New Me. It can be, you know, all the marketing's caught up to it. They're not like New Year, New Me. Now they're like, New Year, same, but better you. Like, they know we're changing our mind about it. They're jumping on it. And my main issue or dislike and this, like, resistance and rebellion is really it's not to, like, you or the rest of us from, like, our small business community and friendships where we're just trying to survive, for God's sake. So how do we do it? We can align it to our energies. We can align to what our workload really is. We can be realistic about what goals we're setting for the year, and it's still okay to set those goals. We're like, I'm responding to the mass media madness of, in a minute it's going to be bikini ready body, because apparently we still haven't gone far away enough from that. And now when you have winter sun, apparently that bikini ready has to be all year, whatever the fuck that means. I'm like, I put on a bikini, I'm ready. Yeah, isn't that how it goes? So I think it's a response where, like, I took the pressure I felt and resented from that for a long time in my life, until I got wise and over 30, thank you. She flicked her hair then. And I transferred that into quite a lot of energy to resist. So I've just sort of done like a bit like that. I'm not saying it's the healthiest way to do it, but I the way I often work, I have to sort of just completely reject something and build it back.
So I feel like you're being like, I reject it because it's been taken to be too mainstream, and like I'm against the philosophy of the mainstream. And I'm like, oh my God, fuck that 2024 is over. Welcome 2025. It will be a new year.
Yes, and you know what? That I relate to in particular, because 2024 was just a shit show. For so many people.
2024 was like a really good year, half of it for me.
Which half?
When I was travelling.
The 3 months of travel all around the world, yeah.
Yeah. The 3 months of travel around the world, and then
9 months.
The rest of the time was, let's not go there today. But yeah, I think I was just like, it's over. In fact, actually, in a terms of like brain numbing situation, the other day was like last year in 2023 and this year in 2025. Like I actually have ruled, like, I didn't even realise that 2024 even happened. Like I just
oh my God, we just see, that's your brain trying to be like, can you just write it off? It was a write-off. Yeah. Move on, let it go. Yes, I think a lot of my attitudes about January is also the more I've gotten interested in and try to think of like aligning myself and like my energy and my business or my life with like nature a little bit more as well, and just sort of going by seasons of the year rather than just calendar dates. The more it's jarred that 1st of January is meant to be some time where I'm meant to, and notice that I keep saying things that are like externally put on me. I don't feel like it aligns with me. If you resonate with that because you're over Christmas and you're like, fuck, that's done, let's go, then that's good for you, isn't it? Because that's what you want. I wonder if there wasn't a new year after Christmas, but there was a Christmas, you'd still be doing that reflection after Christmas anyway.
Yeah, and talking of the seasons, like it's interesting because I'm like, well, it's quite nice because it's like, I see it as like, a seed that's buried deep within underground and then needs like nurturing and time that it takes from that seed to come up and then grows into a beautiful flower. And from my perspective, it's actually nice to think about things from the idea of being the seed that's buried underground, because if I'm to start planning or thinking about things when I'm this like flower that's in bloom, there's too much there's too much energy there for me, and so it's almost like the winter and the ability to do it now is like in a hibernation state. I've got time to reflect. The days are like shorter. It's darker. I can just sit inside, be reflective, have like a nice cup of tea with like a blanket, and be like, what do I want to like this to look like going forward? Whereas if I was to do it, say, I don't know, where I hear from you, like in terms of like spring or later in the year, I'm like, but I want to kind of like be out and enjoying and outside during those times. I want to be experiencing nature rather than like planning about how I want to experience nature. So
yeah, and do you know what, that's actually a really lovely way to put that. I really liked your imagery of the seed, and it made me think of the 2 pots somewhat too full of water. I need to put drain holes in them outside my door that have bulbs that I've put in 2 months ago, but they're not meant to start blooming till obviously like February or March. And it's exactly that. And I hear that, and I think that is such a nice way to sum that up. And I think that's what I want to bring in more. So I'm not against reflecting and setting goals. I'm so game for that. But I want to, and I think this year is the first year that I've been coming to this point, and it's been growing. It's not like suddenly appeared in my head. It's been something that's been growing for the last 2 years at least. So, germinating in that same way. But it's that point where I've finally been able to go, okay, I want that time to reflect, and I don't want to have to take action on the things I'm reflecting on and the little seeds and tiny weak little seedlings of ideas to already have to have actions attached to them. Like, that's why I was finding quite overwhelming with a very mainstream approach of, sure, reflect, set goals, and then fucking go. And apparently if you want to move more, well, then you have to move straight away. First week you've set it, because, why, you're not going to wait. And that, that's a very different thing. And that used to be, I just found that so hard, because it was so much pressure to, like, set an idea or a goal and immediately have to take action on it. And for me, the learning has been to take more time between an idea.
Yeah, and slow down.
Finally sort of ruminate on it and make some changes and decisions, and then think, when do I take the action? Rather than, here's an idea and a goal, go. And that's what I used to be.
And I think that's why, I'm not like a stat, I'm just not the kind of person that can quote stats, but like, that's why basically New Year's resolutions never work, because it's like, let me just like, that's why the gym is like crazy busy in January.
Louder for the ones in the back.
Yeah. And like for
Straight
me,
up.
like I totally, so I think that,
I think we're actually in agreement.
yeah, I think we're in agreement, weirdly enough. Like, I
Yeah.
think we both think that it's a nice time to pause and
Yes.
reflect
Yes.
and kind of take time over, you know,
And then watch
enjoy
it.
that kind of hibernation, but
Yes.
not, you know, basically say, I will do this every day for the rest of the year, or like, I'm going to like sign up for loads of different things, or I'm going to set this crazy business goal, which is really aspirational, and then I've got to like burn myself out by the end of January in order to achieve it, and then it's obviously not going to happen. Or like, you know, the classic example being, I will go to the gym every day and do like an insane workout, and then your body's like, you know. So I think, well,
no
so
wonder.
glad that we had this conversation.
I just want to say as well, though, no wonder that you like this moment, because you've approached it with a very intentional, mindful way. And like, if you hear sort of where I've come from, I feel like my past relationship with it is so turbulent that that's why I feel like I've had to strip it all away and just go, let me start back up again, because I didn't feel like I could just adjust and be like, oh yeah, well maybe I can just change that. Because what was really missing is that intentionality and the time taken to really, and then it fits into the whole like wheel of the year and seasons of, this is still, as I like to keep telling people all the time this month, the bleak midwinter. Doesn't have to be bleak, but it's just funny. Frosty wind made moan. We can go for the whole thing, you know. So it's not, it can be time for action if they feel right, but I think so many people, most of us I'm sure, are actually out of touch with what does feel right to them.
Yeah, and you know what,
Right?
like, it's interesting that you said, like, you know, it feels good because it's come from like an intentional space.
You're about
Well,
to tell me
I've-
it hasn't.
Well, but I mean, you know, I'm just loving that, but I wish that it was the case. I don't feel like it is. I feel like it's like intuitive, which, you know, is
Fine.
in itself. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and you know what, like, this is also experimentation. Like, I'm doing the My Goals for the first time. I have no idea. Like, let's check back in later, a few months later, and see if I'm still doing that, if my yellow book is getting more dirty.
We should do a check-in on like the main Sabbats, be like spring equinox, summer, and just see how that year's going in terms of how the seeds have sprouted in the spring.
Exactly.
For us both. Because that's the thing, like now I do feel so much better about having the ideas and letting the ideas come to me naturally, and then stopping myself. Shocking. When have I ever had an idea and gone, no, we shall wait with the execution of this? It's the opposite of my personality. But working on the fact that I have an idea and I go, okay, let's let that sit in the background and not be worried that, what if I forget it? That like idea scarcity mindset thing that somehow, and this is just a reflection on maybe like a really busy bit of a shit show last year, but also like a busy summer, and that the summer energy for me was always very jittery and very like hot and bothered in a bit of a negative way.
But
Apparently. And that just sorry, just quickly, because I just want to finish my thought there. What I mean is that then so many things come all at once. I feel like if I don't write things down, they'll escape me, they'll run away from me. There's that feeling of like I need to grab them when I can, but that's not how I want to live, and it definitely doesn't lend itself to then thinking a big picture in January, for example, for what seeds can I plant so they can come up in spring. I mean, that's 2-3 months ahead, and you'd think I'd be able to do that, and normally in a work context I do that and more. And yet it's funny how quickly I can revert to a very different approach to that as soon as I'm at like the very least made to feel like there's a bit of time or idea scarcity. And I'm just immediately like, quick, jot it down. What if it escapes? Once I jot it down, I feel like I fixed it.
So that's your summer energy.
Yeah, my summer energy is a tricky beast.
And you know what, like, I mean, a whole separate podcast that we want to do is about our
Yes.
seasons and our cycles. And, you know, like, it's actually really interesting because, like, so much of what I hear us talking about is actually related to how we feel around those cycles.
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, that is literally a whole separate topic. So
Oh, yeah.
tune in
We'll
again.
cover that. We'll cover that. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
basically, we're in agreement.
Yeah.
We didn't think we were,
But here we are.
but here we are.
And the moral of the story is just slow down and hibernate a bit with your idea.
Slow down, hibernate,
Just give
but
the
it's
idea
okay to want to plant some new seeds.
Yeah.
And see where they go.
God, we're wise. God, we're good.
So anyway.